guys, welcome back to Clockwork Dandy Needles for another breakdown of Made in Abyss Season 2, episode number 10. There are now only 2 episodes to go. That means my end of season review is coming your way very shortly. In that video, I'm going to be crowning my top 3 anime of this season. Is Made in Abyss going to be on that list? And how are the top 3 going to fall? Because it's going to be very difficult for me to eventually rank my top 3 when every single anime that mainly I'm breaking down, most of my reviews, I am loving every single one of them. I think it's going to be very difficult for me to eventually make that final choice, but make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel so you do not miss out on the changeover. When it comes to season changeover, there are 2 videos. You get your end of season review and you get your new full 2022 breakdown. In that breakdown video, I will tell you what's coming your way, what anime I'm looking forward to, what are my favourite animes on the scene, which animes do I think are going to be high flyers, what 3 anime, maybe 4, am I going to be breaking down on my channel. I'm also going to be announcing a new feature, which I look forward to debuting next season. Let's get to it because episode 10 is full of lows, a lot of tearjerker moments and a lot of bloodshed, a lot of visceral bloodshed. Everything is coming crashing down. Blown a hole wide open in the village. Barrier is starting to close in. Gives us our first tear-jerking moment where we've got Beleth accepting his own fate. He ended up passing his torch, all of his memories, on to Nanachi, which is perhaps his way of trying to leave somebody in the world who could remember him and maybe explain everything that happened so he could not be forgotten, because I think Beleth is just going to accept death because he's the character who initially we saw as trying to starve himself when he found out the truth and he couldn't stop himself. He eventually gave everything up for the village, and I think he is a character who would happily resign himself to his fate now. Heartbreaking moment again that I already foresaw this happening, that Mitty is going to vanish again. We have to suffer the saying goodbye again for a second time, and it doesn't make it any easier. Seeing it again, knowing it was probably going to end bad anyway, it didn't make it any easier for me, and it's still a horrible tear-jerking moment because Nanachi for the second time loses her friend. It's the whole, she misses her. She's just simply wanted to see her once again, hold on to her. As everybody is fading away, everyone's saying their goodbyes and they just vanish into nothingness, Nanachi is still left on her own. Desire that all she wants is just to lay by Mitty's side. Even if their body wasn't created to lay, as she says, I would have chosen to simply stay with you. But Nanachi is now free and she's walking away from the disaster. But she also gains a level up. We get a helmet, a new helmet made from materials from the outside world. I like it. I think it's very, very pretty. I don't know if it's going to perhaps hide a secret, maybe that got part of Mitty's soul. Kind of like a whistle within the helmet, because it does feel like it's really weird that they would produce something this valuable as she's leaving and it doesn't hold another secret that is case that it's got a secret to it. Let's get back to Faputa, and Faputa is literally claiming a high score in the body count section. She's trying to go for that high score with the KOs. Visceral. I love Faputa. You guys know I love Faputa, and even after this episode, I love Faputa, but that beautiful design, that beautiful white gorgeous design, blood-stained. The way that she does it as well, where she literally tears them limb from limb and she gets within them and she rips them to shreds. It's visceral, it is feral, nothing holds her back. Absolutely nothing holds her back for even a second when you can see people trying to protect one another. Waku again proves to me that he is not what he seems. He just seems to know what's coming because he states, oh, we've got about 30 minutes. He just seems to really know what's going on, and even with his transformation at the end, something with Waku isn't lining up for me. And I know he uses the excuse that I can't tell you because I'm bad at lying. I don't think that's the case, dude. You are actually hiding something very important, I think. Let's go into the breakdown, Faputa and Reg meeting, because there's a lot of information that comes out of this too. Number 1, Reg wasn't created by Faputa, so I thought the fact that she knew him inside out, literally, really being in her nature. She didn't create him. She saw him walking along and he didn't even speak the initial language that she did. We still don't 100% know where he's come from. However, the robot does state that Reg's language is similar to the stone people, the people who pass through from time to time. We don't know who they are, but that word, the label stone people, is again used later on when describing Prushka, which makes me wonder because Prushka is a human. I'm not 100% sure if they're trying to just say that stone person could just be someone coming out from somewhere else, whether it's just a blanket term or whether they are similar, because I don't think Reg is similar to Prushka, but that could just be a misgiving we've had from the anime so far. It's a very uneven fight. Right at the start, it is uneven. Faputa really does have the high ground. She is immortal. She is literally been aided by the village. Whenever she loses even a tooth, she's gaining it suddenly back. She's been healed by the village, her own mother. But it's so visceral, the way that she just attacked even Reg internally. That's disgusting. So if I was thinking Reg was a human, the way that she attacks him internally just crosses that out of my brain. So I don't think Reg and Prushka are the same. Stone person as a human type word, I don't think that's the case. Do see where Faputa got the modesty goggles from. The modesty goggles are from Reg. He ended up presenting them to her as a sign of friendship. Besides the robots, is Faputa's first ever outside friend. Reg does mention the mentor. I don't know who the mentor is, but I am starting to hope the mentor is Rico's mother, but I don't think the timescale really lines up, because he is told by his mentor to go and find someone from up above. The only person he's come back down with is Rico. So if he's been asked to go and get Rico, which is a bit of a specific request if you're not actually Rico's mother. I've got this hope. I don't think the timelines match, but that does allow me to keep the Rico's mother thing still alive in my head. Modesty goggles, they help the princess cover up, and we start to teach the princess about elegance, adding the word sosu to the end of everything. But I'd already kind of figured out that Prushka had actually called out to Faputa. Prushka was feeling trapped within her form and wanted to be carved. Faputa does state that she was testing Rico, going over there to go and reclaim Prushka if she was meant to be fated to find each other. And that is, again, when we hear the word stone person being used to describe Prushka, I think it is a blanket term. I think it's just a blanket term for people who ever come through who are human. They are not robot as they're coming through, because Reg and Prushka aren't the same. If Reg is actually a robot. Waku. Something is just not right with Waku, but they're not going to give us the information just yet. I really hope they do come back and cover this point, because Waku's amazing transformation. He just splits off. His entire body splits off into a protective mesh that covers Mother, the village, from burning, as we have this iron rain now raining down on everything. There's got to be something more to him. I really hope the anime doesn't just gloss over it. I do need some answers when it comes to Waku, because even if he's just a sage and he knows a lot more, I'm not buying it. He knows a lot more than even the sages did. We are told about the word haku. Something that we keep hearing a lot in this season is the idea of number one precious number thing. Faputa is allowed 3 because she has the eggs, and I think one is the robot, one is her mother, and one is probably going to be Reg. That might be the case, even though at the end she's having to destroy one of her precious things. Everybody has a haku, a most precious thing. Now that she's haku is Mitty. I think somebody in my comments, I can't remember which video it was, so well done to you. You guys have been amazing this season, especially you guys in particular. You are so vocal. I love reading your comments. This is how I wish every single breakdown of mine was, because this is what we used to be like before we had the ban. I had a copyright strike, did one of these videos. As you can see, I keep these videos pretty light of anything because I don't want to tempt the gods that are YouTube. But they actually gave me a copyright strike on 2 of my Horimiya videos, which really put me off Horimiya. So sadly, I've got a bit of a bittersweet taste on that anime. We used to be, every single breakdown, every single video had just chat after chat, and I loved it to pieces. You guys are reminding me of the good old days before the ban. Thank you guys so much. But somebody did state that the reason they thought that Faputa could not go into the village and cross the membrane is because you can't go back inside the womb once you're out. So congratulations, you are correct. Thank you as well for sharing your thoughts in the comment. If I find that video and that comment, I will pin it, because that is the correct answer. I will have that pinned for you. Thank you so much. We do also see from the flashbacks that Reg was always aware that his hand had the ability to rewrite things. Even before he knew that it was the case, but he does state that he doesn't know what's going to happen if he uses it one more time. Whether that is the time where he meets Rico first time round and he obviously collapses and he's burnt a big hole in the top layer of the abyss. We are told that he is out searching for his own haku, his own number one precious thing, by his mentor. He was asked to do it, which is what is really hopefully spurring on my idea that maybe his mentor is her mother, but the timeline really doesn't fit. But we do see the sad side. Before we go into the bloodshed, Faputa was always waiting for Reg to come back. Reg does state that he's just going to swim upwards, which is a really weird one. He just swims straight through the water up into the next level and up into the abyss itself. the Made in Abyss theme starts to play, which is tomorrow. I have that theme on my phone. It is such a beautiful theme. Peak Kevin Penkin for me. As this starts to play, we get the moment where I think a few of the ships may have sunk at this point when we see these two making their promise. They promise that they're going to travel together hand in hand. Once we sort out Faputa's destiny, Reg is going to travel with her. And Faputa is the one who also wants kids. So that might sink a few ships. However, as we see Reg begging Faputa to stop and the fact that please don't burn yourself out so there's nothing left, Faputa sadly decides that she cannot abandon her mother, cannot abandon her very nature. Any ship that might have suddenly started to sail suddenly starts to sink. Faputa tries to stab him, tries to attack Reg whilst he's on the floor. There's nowhere to go. She's on top of him by this point. However this is gonna turn out, it's not gonna be good for Reg unless something happens, something gets in the way. Amazing episode. It's full of tearjerkers, full of emotions, different types of emotions. It's visceral, it's bloody. It's sad seeing the village come to an end, but it shouldn't exist at all. Sadly, getting their long-awaited fate, so I think this fate has just been prolonged. Curious to see what Waku's done, because Waku wants to continue travelling, whether that's ever going to happen or not, or whether it's just a wish. I want more information on him. He knows a lot more than he's letting on, and who is this new mentor? How are we going to stop the rampage, if at all? Is the rampage just going to happen? Thank you guys so much for tuning in. It means a lot to me. I hope you're having a great week. See you guys again for another breakdown very soon. We have 2 episodes left. Thank you guys so much. See you next week. Bye bye guys.